Welcome to Echoes of the Sleeping Prophet, the Edgar Cayce story, part 2 of 2. Edgar Cayce was an American clairvoyant and healer who became one of the most well-known psychics of the 20th century. Edgar Cayce received numerous requests for help from people all over the country seeking an alternative remedy for their medical conditions. Given only the name and location of the subject, he would recline on a sofa, loosen his tie, and enter a sleep-like trance. In this state, he gained insight into the person's body and psychology as if they were in the same room. This earned him the nickname of the Sleeping Prophet. Edgar Cayce was also known as the father of holistic medicine. He emphasized that health and healing extend beyond just physical symptoms, as illnesses are often connected to many aspects of a person's life. A complete approach to well-being involves addressing the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. His healthcare system was built on practices that included incorporating fresh fruits and vegetables into one's diet, spinal manipulations, hydrotherapy, castor oil compressing, and massage. From giving medical readings, Edgar Cayce expanded into metaphysical topics like astrology, karma, reincarnation, global prophecies, and the lost civilizations of Atlantis and Lemuria during the 1920s. Arthur Lammers, a wealthy theosophy and philosophy enthusiast, sought out Edgar Cayce's readings on these supernatural topics. Edgar Cayce agreed, believing he might finally find a way to integrate his Christian faith with his unique abilities. This period of transition wasn't without internal struggle for Edgar Cayce. He worried that topics like astrology and reincarnation might contradict his religious beliefs, even fearing he could become a vessel for harmful forces. Yet, over time, he understood these insights as being logically and morally sound, ultimately reconciling them with his faith. Edgar Cayce's life reading of Arthur Lammers revealed the validity of astrology and reincarnation. It was discovered that Arthur Lammer was a monk in his previous incarnation, and this life was his third appearance on Earth. Following the reading, Arthur Lammer explained what Edgar Cayce had disclosed while under hypnosis. It was through this that Edgar Cayce came to understand the origins of his own abilities.
The subconscious you see is the record of all the lives of the soul in this system and in other systems out among the stars. One's past record shines through the conscious mind and present body, making the pattern of the body and the character of the person. Nothing is forgotten or lost by the subconscious. Therefore, if you, in one or more of your past lives, or in your studies in other dimensions and other worlds, learn this wisdom which comes through you, it is not at all to be wondered at that you still possess it.
The astrological framework is one of many influences on a soul's journey.
The stars represent soul patterns, not experiences. The 12 signs of the zodiac are 12 patterns from which the soul chooses when coming into the earth plane. They are like races, patterns of temperament, personality, etc.
These signs impart distinct attributes that influence a person's path, experiences, and inclinations during their earthly life. Edgar Cayce is the most documented psychic of the 20th century, largely due to the efforts of his talented stenographer, Gladys Davis Turner. During a typical session, Edgar Cayce's wife, Gertrude, would serve as the facilitator, guiding the questions from the recipient of the reading. Gladys would then record the reading in shorthand and transcribe it into 2 typewritten copies. One was then provided to the recipient, and the other was kept on file for reference. Thus, these records serve as the cornerstone of the Association for Research and Enlightenment's operations. The venerated Greek enlightened master and philosopher Plato, vegetarian, first mentioned Atlantis as an advanced civilization that once dominated much of Africa and Europe before ultimately sinking into the sea. From his clairvoyant visions, Edgar Cayce portrayed Atlantis as a highly technologically advanced society, He claimed that the Atlanteans discovered electricity and developed ships and aircrafts powered by a mysterious energy crystal. Edgar Cayce believed that prior to its catastrophic downfall, many Atlanteans had sought refuge in present-day Egypt, Mexico, Peru, Central America, and in New Mexico and Colorado, USA. In some of his readings, he also suggested that the United States may be considered a modern equivalent of this lost continent, and numerous citizens could be reincarnated souls from Atlantis. Over 40 years, Edgar Cayce utilized the Akashic records to aid individuals in discovering their fundamental life purpose and identifying the underlying cause of obstacles. He explains how a person's life records are imprinted.
Where there is the thought or the activity of the body in any particular environment, this very activity makes for the impressions upon the soul. As to the records made by such an activity, these are written upon what is known as time or space.
In 1928, Edgar Cayce's vision of a centralized hospital that offered a comprehensive range of healing modalities along with medical professionals became a reality when the Hospital of Enlightenment was constructed in Virginia Beach, USA. However, the hospital lost its main source of funding, forcing it to close its doors 2 years later. Today, the building serves as the headquarters of Edgar Cayce's Association for Research and Enlightenment. In his later years, Edgar Cayce's readings increasingly focused on spiritual and philosophical subjects. News of his clairvoyance continued to spread nationally, particularly with the release of his 1943 biography, There Is a River, by American writer Thomas Sugru, and articles under headlines such as Miracle Man of Virginia Beach. Edgar Cayce's health limited him to only conducting 5 readings a day. However, due to the overwhelming demand from the public, coupled with concerns during times of conflict, Edgar Cayce increased his workload to the detriment of his health. Edgar Cayce passed away on January 3, 1945, and was laid to rest at Riverside Cemetery in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Throughout his life, Edgar Cayce also made many extraordinary predictions about future world events. The Earth was expected to undergo 3 types of transformations: in weather patterns, increased volcanic and seismic activity, and a major pole shift. Edgar Cayce described a future scenario where the Earth's poles would undergo a shift, which he linked to significant Earth changes, such as major volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. These events would particularly affect areas along tectonic fault lines, including the U.S. West Coast and other parts of the world. Edgar Cayce predicted that simultaneous volcanic eruptions at locations like Mount Etna, situated in northeastern Sicily, Italy, and Mount Pelee on the Caribbean island of Martinique could signal the onset of significant upheaval.
There will be shifting then of the poles, so that where there has been those of a frigid or the semi-tropical will become the more tropical, and moss and fern will grow. And these will begin in those periods in 58 to 98, when these will be proclaimed as the periods when his light will be seen again in the clouds. As to times, as to seasons, as to places, alone is it given to those who have named the name, and who bear the mark of those of his calling and his election in their bodies. To them it shall be given.
Edgar Cayce predicted the changes would coincide with an eventual reformation of the physical and spiritual state of the earth, ushering a new era of collective consciousness and peace. This new age would shift humanity from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age. He also acknowledged that transformations of this magnitude could be sudden and destructive enough to destabilize or even obliterate civilization as we know it. He believed that such external events, though daunting, would compel survivors to turn inward and place renewed faith in God.
That which has prevented and does prevent the whole of civilization becoming a turmoil is the attempt of those who have the ideals of the Prince of Peace at heart. And as of old, the prayers of 10 may save a city, the prayers of 25 may save a nation as the prayers and activities of one may. But in union there is strength. Then if that purpose would be kept, then it must ever be kept in mind that we are our brother's keeper.
With thankfulness for these timely and informative insights, may humanity always be guided by faith in God for the wellness of our world. For more information on Edgar Cayce, please visit edgarcayce.org.
Vegan side effect, so much more mental clarity.
Luminescent viewers, thanks for joining us today.